Hey everyone, welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor. This is take 3 of this video because I forgot to press record the second time. The first time I just messed it up. But we're going to talk about Powerless, Season 1, Episode 1. It's called Win or Lose, and it's the first episode, of course, of this DC Comics sitcom, which has changed a lot since we first heard about it. We'll start spoiler-free, as we always do, for Episode 1s. Typically we do full spoilers for anything past that, but for episode 1s, obviously you want to hear if it's worth watching and that kind of thing. So we'll get into it. But this changed a lot because this was when we first heard about this last year. It was set in an insurance firm that dealt with the aftermath of superhero things going on, so the destruction, that sort of stuff.
And it was billed as The Office meets DC.
And we like the sound of that. We've seen the trailer that had footage from the pilot in it, and we thought it looked pretty good. Maybe rough around the edges, but we were quite excited about it. We liked some of the jokes that were thrown in there. And then they announced that the showrunner had left over creative disputes, and they reshot the pilot. Now, there's a couple of things from the original pilot still in there. There's an action scene at the start, which was also in the pilot, because it kind of works either way.
Yeah, we see it in the trailer as well.
Because it's just about her arriving to the city, so that, it works for either job. And most of it's narration, so they could re-record any of that if they want. And there's a quick shot where she says, "Oh, I used to work at an insurance company," and there's a quick shot of her there, and I'm sure that's just that was a normal scene in the original pilot, probably. But now it's a Wayne company. It's a subsidiary of Wayne Enterprises that develops and designs devices to help with the superhero world, where either if it's for defense or cleanup or whatever, just various things. So wacky gadgets and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and obviously this has been a crazy journey to get to this point. Like we said, it's changed. The original pilot was shown at, I think, Comic-Con to reasonable reception, if I recall.
And I'm pretty sure when they announced that the showrunner left and it was probably delayed, we thought, oh, this may just not even happen. This may just get,
and we were convinced it was at least not hitting this rough airtime that they'd told us.
You get Vanessa Hudgens as the main character, Emily, who's the new hire to the company. She's going to be the boss of this section. Her boss is played by Alan Tudyk, who's Van Wayne, and I like Alan Tudyk. I like Danny Pudi, who's one of the sort of scientist dudes as well, who are working on stuff. And first of all, Van Wayne, Bruce Wayne's cousin, their parents didn't think to take in Bruce when his parents get shot. No?
I also think they could have done a better job of naming him, because it feels like there should be another word after Van. I don't know. It just feels like it's not right.
I'm cool with that. But, yeah. And before comic people jumped down my throat, yes, I realise that Bruce Wayne does have a cousin in the comics, Kate Kane, but her side of the family doesn't like Bruce's side of the family. They don't like Wayne's. So there's at least a reason why they wouldn't have taken him in.
Yeah. I think before we go any further as well, full disclosure, we are massive DC fans.
Oh yes.
As we have a DC Comics podcast, so there's just to give some context to maybe things that we found funny that maybe others wouldn't.
Yeah. So we of course have a decent amount of knowledge. That said, Crimson, whatever her name was Fox. At the start, Crimson Fox.
Yeah, they're pulling obscurities.
They're obscure. These are these are in the lower half of the alphabet.
They're the ones where they go, Warner Bros. Like, I don't care. You can have whoever you want when you get to that point.
Yeah, pretty much. Condiment King will be appearing, I am sure of it.
Oh, no way. If Condiment King is on there, that'll be amazing. We need Condiment King
and Cold Snap. Cold Snap's coming, the best cold-based villain of the DC universe. I'm joking, of course.
He's probably the only one they can get when they want to do a cold-based episode.
Well, Killer Frost is already taken. They're not getting Mr. Freeze or Captain Cold's taking.
Yeah.
They're getting Mr. Freeze.
They could maybe get Minister Blizzard.
Minister Blizzard's an option, sure. But
I'm hoping for Cold Snap.
So just to put it in perspective where our expectations were, is the new teasers for it, the new TV spots leading up to the premiere, we'd heard it change to this new set and this new business, and the new teasers weren't that good. The TV spots
were not landing for us at all.
No, they weren't funny, and the original trailer was much better. So we were kind of down getting into this. The reviews haven't been super positive. But hey, going to give it a chance, of course. We're going to give it a try.
It's what we do, isn't it?
DC Comics, especially. We give it a chance anyway, but the fact that it's DC as well is just an extra reason for us to give it. I'm going to hit you with a big positive I had that took me by surprise.
Go on.
The opening title sequence is delightful.
Oh, it is amazing. It's one of my favourites on TV already.
Yeah, the opening title sequence of this show, and this isn't a spoiler, so the opening title sequence, again, spoiler-free so far, it's basically like famous pages and covers from the comic book. So it starts off with the Action Comics #1, Superman lifting up the car, and then it focuses in on like an innocent bystander. I think it's actually Lois in this case, but it focuses on like one of the regular people, and then it cuts to like a Green Lantern comic, focuses into a regular person, and every time it goes to a regular person, it gives you a cast member because that's who they are, kind of.
It's clever,
roughly.
and I love it.
It goes through Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Flash, and was the last one Wonder Woman?
Maybe.
There was a fifth one. It feels weird if it wasn't Wonder Woman, but I don't remember specifically if it was.
I think I was just kind of enjoying the whole concept of it so much
But it was
that I
cool.
forgot to pay attention to the specifics.
I think because I didn't expect them to even be allowed to do this with the big characters, but this was a fun... This was a way of saying, no, we're part of the DC universe, we're going to reference all these things, even if you're not going to see them.
And it was nice, wasn't it?
It was nice, it was delightful, it made me smile.
It was paying tribute to what it's all based off.
Yeah, so that's nice. I do have a lot of positives. My biggest actual positive coming out of this show is it's not the train wreck that the newest.
So I don't know. I kind of liked it.
I liked it to a point. I think.
I don't think it's perfect. Don't get me wrong.
It's got pilot-itis.
Oh, definitely.
It rushes
setting up the concept.
Yeah, it rushes through everything so much, and there's a lot of the humor which feels very forced, but there is some of it that does not. And
no, some of it really lands, I think.
My favourite character is Van Wayne so far. And it's not just because I love Alan Tudyk, although I think he's a big reason for this. I think his delivery is what sells a lot of it. He had a couple of great lines. I'll get to spoilers what the lines were. I don't want to spoil it for you, but the really, really good... The first joke that made me laugh was something he said that just... Because the opening's really... Because obviously it's all very cheesy and saccharine, and I think one thing the show really needs to step back from, which was kind of annoying me, is it kept doing these really big in-your-face close-ups of Vanessa Hudgens as she was making speeches.
I get that, but I don't know. I like her.
I like her well enough, but it was like a really weird choice. She feels so in my face. It's kind of uncomfortable. She's uncomfortably in my
I do
space.
think that's something that I'll be kind of toned back. That's one of those things where these shows try and push the box of it on the styles at first, and they always kind of settle into a routine a few episodes in.
It's not that I normally have this attitude with close-ups. I like a good close-up, but it's because it's a dead-on close-up. Typically, you have talking space, and they're looking at the side. This is not. She's right up here, like.
Yeah. No, I think that is one of those pilot symptoms where it'll settle back. They'll ease out of it. Maybe we'll get it every so often, but not as much.
I will say, in terms of the humour, I'd say about 30 to 40% of it I liked. And that sounds like it's quite damning, but I don't really mean it to be damning because I feel like I always bring this up. Parks and Recreation, I hated the first season. Those first 6 episodes, 90% of them, garbage. There's a couple of good jokes. But
it's like I love The Office, for most of it anyway. And that first episode, even that first season to a degree, is awful.
Comedies have a good trend where they really hit their ground and they get their feet on the ground in season 2.
Yeah, so if you've got half of the thing in the pilot is good, and that's pretty solid.
They develop, and it's a good chance it'll get better. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it will. Lots don't. Lots just kind of stagnate, and they're just there. I'm a little worried that this won't even get to see a season 2. It feels like it's going to be cancelled. I don't know why I think that.
That said, we thought this might not even happen at this point. So
that's true.
I'd love to be wrong again.
Hopefully it does well. Hopefully all the superhero references and stuff, which is the other thing that I enjoyed.
There was one in particular that really cracked me up.
They were directly referencing stuff that I didn't think they would outright be allowed to say. And I kind of liked that. By the way, the city they're in is called Charm City. That's not a real DC city, is it?
It's not, no.
Yeah, I was like, I don't recognise this one. And I know some obscure DC cities.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure they've just made this one up for the show.
Yeah. I mean, your average Joe is not going to know Opal City or Hub City.
Nah.
But so I'm thinking, is this like a really obscure one that I've just not come across?
If it is one that has been used very, very scarcely.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is at all. I think it's just a whole new thing.
Yeah, so a lot of the jokes are kind of like everyone's bored of superheroes. Like they don't even pay attention when there's like a superhero fight going on.
It's a little bit meta, isn't it?
So it is a little bit meta. I think it's okay. It's a little bit on the nose though. Like the way like people on the train don't even look. It's like I
agree, but it kind of leans out of that stuff as it goes further in.
Well, again, this is going back to pilotitis, where I feel like a lot of this stuff will almost just be kind of left behind, and the stuff that will work is the characters playing off each other and having the fun references.
And you know what? For the most part, I kind of dig the characters. I mean, they're not super developed, but I kind of like the core chemistry, at least at the basic level. Not all of them, but at least half.
They're two-dimensional. They're too two-dimensional for me right now to really give an opinion on most of them.
Oh no, I agree they're two-dimensional, but I just mean the core, how they play off each other, at least on the core level, is working for me.
I feel like the three scientists who are Danny Pudi's character, Teddy, Jackie, and Ron, like those three characters, they all had maybe one moment that I liked between, like each of them had one moment maybe where I laughed properly. And then the rest of it felt kind of, just the writing wasn't that funny, and it felt a bit short. And then there's Jackie, who's Van's secretary, who's very jaded and is just kind of cynical about everything. And I don't know if she made me laugh in this one. Maybe she did. Oh, I think she did.
I don't know if she actively made me laugh, but she was always kind of a bit snarky and kind of played off things nicely. It wasn't necessarily like actively funny, but I still liked it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just want to talk about jokes now, so I'll wrap up the spoiler-free section here. Anything else you want to add in here before we...
I'd say I like the cast for the most part. Like Vanessa Hudgens is one that I've not really watched a lot of her stuff, and obviously she's the one leading it, and I think she does a fine job.
Well, I love Alan Tudyk, of course. He, firstly from Firefly, but from other stuff too. Danny Pudi, I love from Community. So there's cast here to make me care.
Yeah, I just mentioned her because obviously she's the lead and she's the one that it's anchored on, and she was what I was pretty the most unsure about when it was back at the original concept. But I think she does a pretty good job. Yeah.
I think we'll go into spoilers then. I don't think there's much more to say in spoiler free. Just to say that it's got some moments. I don't think as a whole it's like a good episode of TV. I don't think you're going to leave this go, oh, this was great, I need to watch the next one. But there's potential in there. I don't think it's a complete lost cause. Like,
yeah, it's definitely better than we expected at this point. Like, if you'd asked me a week ago if I'd expected it to be anywhere near this level, I'd have told you not a chance.
Yeah, it's better than the last couple of teasers made it look. That said, every joke that was in those teasers that I didn't like, I still didn't like here. None of them were better.
Oh, I agree. None of them were better here, but there was stuff that wasn't in the teasers that did work.
Yeah, but every joke in the teaser that I did not like, I still hated it here. So
definitely.
There's still a lot of bad jokes. That you can't get over that, and for a comedy, that's kind of bad. But
yeah, I just think it was an awfully cut trailer.
Sure, but they're still there.
In the sense of...
They're still in the episode, though. It still makes up more than half the jokes.
They do, but it concerns me a little. Because obviously we're saying, okay, there are these good 30-40% of jokes that are good, right? And that's what we want them to take that side of the jokes and move forward with those. But the fact that they're showcasing these ones that we don't like is a little bit concerning, because it makes me feel like that's what they want the comedy to be. And the side that they want to lean into, or at least what the marketing department is expecting them to.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I see this mismarketing all the time, though, where they focus on the lowest common denominator stuff that's not going to confuse anyone.
That is very true.
So,
and it typically is the worst stuff, that.
Yeah, so hopefully that goes away. But yeah, we'll go into spoilers now. So full spoilers for episode 1 of Powerless. We're going to talk about jokes and stuff. The first time I laughed in this episode is when Emily's in the office with Van. And Van says he's more of a big picture kind of guy. And then walks over and shows a big picture of himself on the wall and goes, see, look at how big this picture is.
I agree. That was good. And do you know what is amusing about that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of almost lowest common denominator stuff that could have been in a trailer.
It could have been, but it was a funny joke. And it was funny partly because of his delivery. I think more than anything else. I think Alan Tudyk sells it. I think
he does.
All the stuff he says about Bruce Wayne, like, oh yeah, B-dubs, he calls him.
Yeah.
And how he's wanting to go to Gotham and all that, and all that stuff was amusing for the most part, but there was those couple of moments that were really funny. The other joke that I really liked that cracked me up, I'm kind of focusing on the ones that aren't references right now, is when Emily's giving the pep talk to the group, and she's like, oh, we need to do all this, and then someone sarcastically goes, oh, let me guess, you're going to say we should think outside the box, and then she says, no, you should forget the box ever even existed. We should go way beyond that, and so on. And then Ron holds my current project's a box. And he holds up a box. It's literally a box. And that was almost a running joke, because someone else later on used the sort of, no, it's literally this, after she said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So That was an okay joke. That made me laugh. That was probably the first time Ron made me laugh.
Yeah.
Like I say, those characters all had their one moment. And we didn't even say the plot of the episode. The plot of the episode is that they all get fired. Bruce Wayne apparently has decided that this is waste of time, waste of money, not had a good idea. And they obviously magically think a great device by the end of the episode to save all their jobs.
It's classic, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's very rushed, very quick. And again, I hated the whole punching suit thing.
Yeah.
That wasn't
I like the LexCorp, right?
Yeah, the LexCorp reference at the end was good because it was like, it's actually a LexCorp that makes this. Again, it's a reference that I wasn't expecting that they would get away with. Even down to the fact that their big product from the last year was the antidote for the Joker, laughing gas.
And the new one for this year was it in a slightly darker purple.
Yeah, in fact, that was the first time Danny Pudi made me laugh. Is when she said, "Oh, no one cares about the color," and he's just like,
yeah, he's just horrified.
So, there's a lot of things like that. And then there was that really funny bit at the end with, because they send it to Bruce Wayne, and like Van's like, oh, he's put it into beta. And then they're watching a news broadcast later, like, oh, news from Gotham this evening, Batman's caught the Joker. He used a tracking device that traced his smell. And then they're like, just very like ambivalent, just, that's what a coincidence. Batman came up with a device just like ours.
He did it in black. Sleek.
Yeah. I wish we worked for Batman. That'd feel cool.
It was amusing.
On the nose, but amusing.
The reference that really cracked me up though was the Shazam one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in stitches.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Because especially since it was used in a very... It wasn't a
everyday context where if you don't know it's a reference, it's still amusing.
Yeah, it wasn't hey, look, I'm making a reference, I'm referencing LexCorp, I'm referencing Batman or whatever. It was... No, I'm going to sarcastically say, oh, I need magic to pull this off. Maybe I'm a wizard. Shazam! Oh, look, nothing.
Yeah.
And it just worked because obviously Shazam's a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they referenced someone like Shazam in this, because it's like, it's not just going to be Batman and Superman. There's going to be,
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other big laugh that I got, actually, was Ron had invented kryptonite windows so that when Superman's fighting someone, he would never go through the windows. And then Emily's like, yeah, but what if Superman is to get in to help the people inside the building? He's like, that situation never occurred to me.
I also like that it's a fact that this feels left over from the insurance stuff. It's a fact that Superman flying through buildings is the biggest cause of these events.
It probably is, yeah. It probably is taken over from the last pilot.
Yeah, it feels from that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So the references are mostly pretty fun. I don't think there was any of them that made me groan too much or made me feel like, it's too...
It's like the Batman stuff at the end was almost it, but because they played it so over the top.
Yeah.
Where because you had them sitting at the table going, huh. That if that had been played straight, that would be not great. But the way it was all right.
And you've got Van, who was going to get to finally move to the Gotham job that he'd always wanted, but he can't. So he's stuck here because of Emily saved the company and the branch. So that should be a fun setup going forward. Obviously, we don't review pilots. We don't review comedies week to week. Because there's not a whole lot to say beyond the first premise. It's maybe worth us coming back at the end of the season and looking back and saying, did it improve?
Yeah, I think I'll be sticking with... I mean, I say this about a lot of comedies in general. I tend to just binge them at the end.
Yeah.
But I think this one I will be sticking with weekly just because it is DC and I have to know if it can get better.
Probably. I will probably check it out next week as well. So I think there's 10 episodes. I think at the end of the 10 episodes we'll come back in and we'll have a little chat about if it got better, was it worth sticking with? Because right now I can't outright recommend it. It's not good enough to say, no, this is worth watching.
But it's at the same time, it's like, ooh, it could get there.
But if you're a DC,
there's enough there.
If you're a DC fan, no, the opening title sequence is worth checking out.
It's worth it for that alone, definitely.
At the very least, because that was very respectful, so that was cool. But there you go. That's Powerless, episode 1, the repilot, if you will. Let us know what you thought of this in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. And yes, there's a lot of videos going up today because we've got catch up because my internet was out for like a day and a half and it's caused absolute chaos to the scheduling. But thank you very much, guys. Let us know what you thought. We'll see you next time.